Frehley, one of the founding members of the rock group Kiss, has died. He was 74.
On October 16, 2025, the world of rock fell silent. Ace Frehley, the legendary guitarist and original Spaceman of Kiss, had passed away. For decades, he wasn't just a musician. He was electricity personified, the heartbeat of a generation. Fans who once screamed his name now wept in disbelief. But behind the fame, the fire, and the painted face was a man haunted by demons, driven by passion, and defined by sacrifice. And when the music finally stopped, the fortune he left behind would reveal a story that made even his family cry. Before he was a rock god, he was just Paul Daniel Frehley, a kid from the Bronx, New York, who dreamed big. Growing up in a working-class neighborhood, Ace found escape in music. The guitar became his voice, his language, his rocket out of reality. In 1973, fate brought him together with Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, and Peter Criss. And together, they formed Kiss, a band that would go on to redefine rock forever. With his signature tone, wild energy, and unshakable charisma, Ace helped craft the sound that made Kiss more than a band. It made them a phenomenon. The makeup, the fire-breathing, the pyrotechnics. It was all larger than life. And at the center of it stood the Spaceman, Ace Frehley, a man whose guitar solos could make arenas tremble. His creative genius even shaped the band's identity. He designed the famous Kiss double lightning bolt logo, a symbol recognized across generations. By 1978, Kiss was at the height of its power. That year, all four members released solo albums at the same time. A bold and unprecedented move in rock history. Against all odds, it was Ace Frehley's album that soared the highest. His record, featuring the hit New York Groove, became the best-selling of the four and landed in the top 20 on the US Billboard charts. For Ace, it was validation. Proof that he wasn't just part of the Kiss machine. He was a star in his own right. But with fame came friction. Behind the scenes, Ace was growing restless. The band's music was becoming more commercial, more polished, and less raw. The very opposite of what had made it great. Ace wanted grit, freedom, and authenticity. Instead, he found himself trapped in arguments, business politics, and long studio nights that drained his spirit. As his frustration grew, so did his dependence on alcohol and drugs, a dangerous spiral that would follow him for years. Then, in 1982, Ace made a decision that shocked the music world. He walked away from Kiss, turning down a contract worth $15 million. In today's money, that would be nearly $100 million, a life-changing fortune. But Ace didn't care about the money. As he later said, "If I had stayed in that band, I would have committed suicide. I'd be driving home from the studio wanting to crash my car into a tree." For him, walking away was survival, while he retained a 25% share in the band's partnership until 1985, earning royalties from albums like Lick, It Up, and Animalize. He knew he had to rebuild his life on his own terms. After leaving the band, Ace wasn't done with music. In 1984, he formed his own group, Frehley's Comet. Signing with Megaforce Records, he released their self-titled album in 1987. The record sold nearly 500,000 copies and earned critical praise. Fans loved the sound, raw, bold, and unmistakably Ace. The band followed with Second Sighting and Trouble Walkin', both showing Ace's determination to stay true to himself, even without the shadow of Kiss. Still, fame never came easy. Ace's life was a pattern of rise, fall, and rebirth. In 1995, he reunited with Kiss for an unforgettable MTV Unplugged performance. The chemistry between the original four members was electric. As if no time had passed, fans went wild. And soon after, Kiss announced a full reunion tour in 1996, with Ace back in his full Spaceman makeup. The world tour became one of the highest grossing of the decade, proving that the magic of the original lineup was still alive. In 1998, Kiss released the album Psycho Circus. Although Ace appeared on the cover and in promotional materials, he later revealed he had only played on one track. Once again, creative tensions resurfaced, and by 2002, Ace Frehley had left the band for the final time. His role was taken over by Tommy Thayer, who continued performing in Ace's iconic makeup. But fans never stopped seeing Ace as the real Spaceman, the one who had started it all. In the years that followed, Ace continued to record and tour as a solo artist. He released Anomaly in 2009, Space Invader in 2014, and Spaceman in 2018. These albums showed flashes of his old brilliance, the spirit of a man who refused to give up. He may have aged, but his guitar still sang like fire. Each concert ended the same way, with Ace closing the night by playing Rock and Roll All Night, the eternal anthem that had defined his life. But even as the music continued, his financial troubles grew. In 2013, Ace lost his home in Yorktown, New York, to foreclosure after failing to pay more than $735,000 in mortgage debt and property taxes. It was a devastating blow, a harsh reminder that fame doesn't always mean fortune. Decades of touring costs, legal fees, and personal struggles had drained his finances. Yet, despite all of it, Ace never lost the love of his fans or his passion for the guitar. Away from the spotlight, Ace Frehley was nothing like the wild rock star the world imagined. Friends often described him as funny, gentle, and deeply creative. A man who loved to make people laugh. Behind the fame and the fire, there was a quiet soul who loved science fiction, cars, and art. When he wasn't on stage, Ace would spend hours sketching guitar designs or dreaming up stage setups that felt straight out of another galaxy. In 1976, Ace Frehley married Jeanette Treratola, and though their marriage ended in the early 1980s, they shared one daughter, Monique Frehley. She became the center of his world, his heart, and his greatest source of strength. Through every high and low, Monique gave Ace a reason to keep going. After decades of battling alcohol and drug addiction, he finally achieved sobriety in the mid-2000s. He often credited his daughter and his fans for saving his life, saying their love gave him the courage to start again. But in September 2025, tragedy struck. While working in his Morristown, New Jersey studio, Ace suffered a devastating fall on September 25th. Initially, his team described it as a minor accident, and fans believed their hero would soon return to the stage. But within days, his condition worsened. The fall had caused a severe brain bleed, an intracranial hemorrhage that left him fighting for his life. He was placed on life support, surrounded by his daughter, his siblings, and his longtime partner, who prayed desperately for a miracle. Fans across the globe flooded social media with heartfelt messages. "Get well, Spaceman." Sadly, the miracle never came. On October 16, 2025, after weeks on a ventilator, the machines were turned off. The Spaceman's journey came to an end at 74 years old. At first, some fans refused to believe it, thinking it was another cruel rumor. But soon, TMZ and other major outlets confirmed the truth. His family released a heartbreaking statement. He was a loving, caring, peaceful soul whose memory will live on forever. After his passing, attention turned to what he had left behind. Despite decades of fame, tours, and record sales, Ace's net worth was around $1 million, a modest sum for a rock legend. Most of it came from royalties, licensing deals, and personal assets like his guitars, artwork, and memorabilia. The heir to his estate was believed to be his only daughter, Monique Frehley, who had stood by him through every triumph and struggle. Tributes poured in from around the world. His Kiss bandmates, Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, and Peter Criss, called him an essential and irreplaceable rock soldier. And through the grief, one truth remained. Ace Frehley's legacy would live forever in the hearts of millions who still hear his guitar echo across time. In interviews, Ace often joked about his unconventional path. "I'm an anomaly," he once said. "I never learned to read music. I don't know theory, but somehow I became one of the most famous guitar players in the world." That was Ace Frehley, the untrained genius, the rebel who never followed the rules, the kid from the Bronx who turned noise into art. Legends like Ace Frehley never fade. They live on in every chord, every echo, every fan who still feels the fire of his music. The Spaceman may be gone, but his sound still travels among the stars. If you felt his story, hit like, share it with other rock lovers, and subscribe for more untold stories of the legends who shaped our world. Thanks for watching.